Hello friends, I am Guninder Sidhu. For me, the greatest life skill is to be best in the worst. The greatest artist is that one who can sail the worst of the storms smoothly. This is the best life skill. And today I am going to discuss about the book which deals with this important life skill. Rather, the most important life skill. Can you imagine the blissful of a life in which the worst and best days they are almost same? There is no fear of crisis, no fear of suffering, no fear of anything. And this is the book which can lead you to that blissful state. The name of the book is Pregnant Darkness. It is by Monika Wikman. And the subtitle of this book is Alchemy and the Rebirth of Consciousness. It is about rebirth, resurrection. Now the title itself has great significance. Pregnant darkness. It means the darkness about which we are so fearful that we run away is pregnant. Is pregnant with what? With light, with hope, and with the potentiality to make us stronger. Every crisis period is pregnant with the potentiality to awaken our strengths, our hopes, to bring resurrection, to renovate us. And I learned after reading this book that we have no need to be afraid of the dark times, the tough times. Rather, we need to be very respectful for those times. Because if we look back, then we will realize that actually the toughest times, the dark times, are those times which actually built us, which actually give us strength. So this book is all about changing our perspective, much needed perspective about the crisis period, sufferings, and many such negative things, so-called negative things. And after reading this book, you will realize that these negative things are not actually negative things, but they have the potentialities of transforming us for better. Now about Monika Wikman, and she writes that she was suffering from cancer and she herself awakened some potentialities within her, due to which her cancer was cured. Her doctors said that her disease has been remitted, that she has been freed from the penalty of the disease. Now this book is mainly about the Jungian psychology. And to elaborate further, I read few lines from this book. These lines are written in the introduction of this book, and the lines are: cultivating a living relationship. Living relationship. Not any fictitious relationship, but a living. The relationship which you can actually experience. Cultivating a living relationship with the mysteries of psyche and the psychoid. Psyche is our individual psyche. Psychoid is the psyche of the cosmos. Or you can say Atma and Paramatma. And Monika Wikman says that her cancer was cured because of having that relationship. Because she was able to cultivate that relationship of her psyche with the psychoid, with the cosmos. So she says that cultivating a living relationship with the mysteries of psyche and psychoid depends on our ability to go into darkness. If we want to have a living relationship with the mysteries of psyche and psychoid, we need to have courage or ability to go into the darkness. And what happens in darkness? It dims the light of the ego. Dims the light of the ego means that we are no more addicted to success or the materialistic things. our lust, greed, that gets dimmed. Dim the light of ego, and we tend to what appears. See, it is a paradox that in darkness we are attending what appears to us. It means that in darkness we get the ability to see something which earlier was not visible to us. That this period of crisis or suffering that makes us able to see the invisible things. She says, we descend into darkness voluntarily. Sometimes we voluntarily go into the darkness. How? When we meditate or engage in any kind of spiritual practice, dream work, the analysis of dreams, active imagination, shamanic journey, creative endeavor, and so on. Even while doing some work out of creativity, we enter into that darkness where we can see the invisible things, where we can have a relationship with the mysteries which were earlier hidden due to our ego, due to our lust, due to our greed. And one wonderful thing about Jungian psychology is that, according to it, our self, that is so wide and such a wonderful phenomena that sometimes it forces us to commit some error. It forces us to send us in a phase of crisis so that we can correct ourselves. So in this way, according to this book, the period of darkness or crisis or suffering is actually a correcting principle. It is a time for self-correction. And she gives the example of Saturn, the archetype of Saturn. Saturn is shown in various traditions, while in India it's one of the most terrified word, Shani. But Saturn is the archetype of the correcting, the period of correction. It is depicted as an old man who is limping, can't walk properly, has a very slow pace. In this book, there is a picture where this limping old Saturn that is watering a garden, and he is carrying a pot, and while limping, the water gets dropped out. But she interprets it very beautifully. She says that when this water gets dropped out, even that is causing the flourishing of the grass. So Saturn is a archetype when our life is not going according to us so well, when we need some correction. Saturn is not something person standing outside and entering into our life, but it is the phase of life. And when the crisis happen, we become more spiritual, get more compassionate about others. And that compassion, that concern about the outer world is what the water is being dropped out. Because earlier, due to ego, we are confined to our own self. But it is the period of crisis that widens our horizon, that makes us more spiritual, more compassionate. And this is the strength of this so-called dark period. And the theme of this book is not new. Even the Gurbani says, Anjan mein hi naranjan rahiye. Anjan is kajal, or something dark. Naranja means light, which is beyond darkness. If you can be a naranjan, a light, in Anjan, darkness, then you are a real victorious of life. And this book is all about such skills that is depicted through various psychological things, alchemical things, and it is full of wonderful examples, spreading from Rumi, Buddha, and numerous alchemists, scientists, and even from the personal experiences of Monika Wikman. And this book is actually of great importance, especially for the purpose of healing. Because in healing, we need to find some meaning of our suffering. There is a great psychologist, Viktor Frankl. He has written a wonderful book, that Man in Search of Meaning. Actually, we are in search of some meaning. He was thrown into the concentration camps of Nazis, but he survived in those camps because he says that he found some meaning in those sufferings. So whenever we are going through the dark phases of life, we need some meaning. We need some justification of that suffering. And that justification of suffering is that it is actually meant to strengthen us, to correct us. So if you want to do the self-healing, if you want to be the best in the worst, then this is highly recommended book. With these words, I conclude this episode here.